DaveT1963. I'm out here with Isaac and we're scouting, and this is a typical southern buck bedding area. What we have here is we have a pretty large slough back in here and a creek system that runs up this way. But we got this little cedar thicket right up here coming down to a point. And as you can see, you can follow the rubs up here. But this deer is bedding right up in here by this log right here. We found numerous rubs right in here. And why is he sitting here? The wind's going to come over this point right here and swirl right in here so he can smell what's coming in behind him, and it's thick and steep. And he can see this whole bottom. The main access is coming in from over to my right. And so he can sit up here. He's got the wind advantage and he can see anything coming through this bottom. So typical buck bedding area. I don't see a lot of fresh thyme. He hasn't been in here probably since September, October. So this is probably a good early season spot. I personally probably wouldn't set up here. I'd probably go up a little bit further. We're going to walk up there in a little bit because I think we're going to find more buck beds further up now. You know, this gets pressured by duck hunters, so it's probably pushing them up further. But this is what you're looking for. You're looking for these old rubs. We found some fresh ones from this year, and we found 3 or 4 that are older up in here and some matted leaves and stuff. So I'm pretty sure he's bedding right here in early season. We're out with my friend Isaac and we're out scouting and setting up a spot. We found a really good funnel area here and a double scrape, and let me kind of just walk you through the setup here. What we have is we have a pretty nice creek bottom that goes into a large reservoir down here, and there's a lot of doe traffic down there. We had a major ridge coming down this way that we found a lot of rubs on. We found a couple double scrapes right here. We freshened them up. We went and hung a camera right here because this trail is skirting what we call the military crest of this ridge. He's walking just below the military crest. And just for checking the thermals today, which, you know, you got to check it the day you're hunting, but it seems like in early morning, we're going to have, of course, the pull down towards the bottomland, and it's shifted about 9:30 to 10 o'clock this morning, so about 2.5 hours after daylight because of the shade. So we went ahead and picked a tree right here. This is going to be our primary morning setup. What we'll do is we'll come in from the other side of the ridge, pop over the top, and walk right across this trail to that tree, because by the time the buck gets on the trail, he's dead. So that's primarily going to be our morning setup. Then if we're hunting during the rut and it's an all-day sit, and the thermals will shift, probably about 9:30, 10 o'clock, we picked out another tree and some great cover and a cedar up here where we can shoot the top of the ridge and shoot this major trail. This is a classic funnel, a rut funnel area. Now, why are the bucks using this? There's a doe trail about 50 yards further down the ridge, and we found some scrapes and stuff on that, a lot of doe traffic. So he's walking this, I'm going to assume late morning after the does come in here to bed. He's walking here because the thermals are shifting and bringing the doe odor up here. That's why these scrapes are here. Okay, so this is a classic setup. I probably hunt this the last week of October, first couple weeks in November, and then again into that first couple weeks of December when the second rut kicks in. But this is about as good as it gets. All the terrain features around here. I didn't really talk, there's a big high line up here and open area. So all the terrain features funneled down right here. There's actually a draw coming up right here, and we found a header that those does are going around. So all the deer movement's really being constricted right here, and this is perfect for a cruising buck to walk this in the late morning, early afternoon to scent check these scrapes down here. So I'm excited about this set. We hung a camera up here. We'll come back in here probably May, June and set this up. I'll probably leave this camera out until I hunt it in October, November. So good setup. Isaac and I are out here scouting. I believe it's the 8th of February. We're always talking about getting out and doing the legwork. There's things out here that you cannot find on maps or aerial photographs, and that's exactly what we have here. This is a hidden water hole on a very steep bridge going down to a bottomland. The nearest water that we can find when it's dry is about 1/4 of a mile from here. Doe tracks all around here. This is why I like to find these water holes, is not only because it's hot here in Texas, but anywhere I've hunted, whether it was Montana, Kansas, anywhere. When a buck's rutting, even on a cold day, but especially on those warm days and a buck's rutting, they're gonna know where these water holes are. So, you know, this is probably, I've only got one more camera in my pack, so we're gonna do some more scouting, but if we don't find what we're looking for, we're probably gonna come back here and drop a camera on this. Because once again, there's 3 primary ways I take inventory of bucks. 1, I either do it with minerals. 2, I find natural licking branches and enhance those with some preorbital gland lure. Or 3, water holes. Every creature running this ridge knows where this water hole is, and you're going to be able to get inventory of what's in the area. So this is a great find. We found a beautiful, and just set up on a couple scrapes, we found a bedding area. This all ties together. Knowing all these pieces of that puzzle ties together when we're going after that buck, on finding where he's scraping, where he's sleeping. Now we know where he's watering. You know, all this adds up into setting up on this buck. So, and we found a really nice bedding ridge that comes to a point right here. And we believe we just found our first bed. But one of the things, I laugh at this because I've heard this talked about on the Beast so many times. But if you look right down in the bottom right there, there's a damn weather balloon or a party balloon. And the nearest house from here has got to be what, Isaac, 5, 6, 7 miles from here? What the heck is that doing out here? But, you know, I don't know if I buy in 100% to that, but this point has all the characteristics that Dan Infalt over at the Hunting Beast talks about. A narrow point with plenty of little shelves on either side, to where no matter which way the wind's blowing here, that buck can orientate off this point. Not finding a whole lot of sign right here on this point, but all around this, we found a lot of good buck sign. But I'm really thinking this is a good bedding point. We're gonna walk a little further out here and check it out. But you know, I guess there's something to these balloons kind of following the thermal patterns and the wind patterns and winding up in good spots. But there it is. I'm setting up in that tree right there. I'm gonna hunt that balloon. We've been out scouting all morning long, and anyway, this is a spot we had thought was buck bedding. I still think they're bedding here, but earlier we just kind of made light and said something about, you know, as the pressure increased down here where the duck hunters would be, they'd probably bedded up there somewhere. So on our way back out, we were walking up there, and Ike finds this nice little dude up there. This is a typical 10-point Oklahoma buck. Probably coming off a 3.5, 4.5-year-old buck. Exactly what we're out here looking for. So once again, it just goes to show you, you got to stick to your sign. We didn't find a whole lot down here. In fact, we haven't found a whole lot of sign, have we, Ikeman? So we've been all over this place. We found a few rubs. We did find one spot we're going to set up over some scrapes. But just looking up in here, you know, we kind of made the assumption that that's where I would be. If I was a buck with the thermals and stuff, I would be up there watching all this down here. And sure enough, this is proof enough for me.
On our way out too. 6 hours.
Always on it. Matter of fact, 10 minutes ago, I was just mentioning that I don't know how many times I've been out scouting and walked all over the place, 7 or 8 miles, and I'll be randomly walking back to the truck, and that's when I stumble into the buck sign. And sure enough, how far are we from the truck right now?
Well, we're 150 yards from the kayaks.
Yeah.
Mile and a half from the truck.
Yeah, so 150 yards from what we put in this morning. And that's where the best sign for the day was. So, good find, Ike.